Sawadee Cup.
Sawadee krap. Hi, everybody. Hi, Ray.
Hi, Damien. How are you?
Almost forgot my name there, didn't you?
Yeah, no. How could I ever forget your bloody name? So, what did you want to talk about the weather?
Yeah. Well, it's my favorite thing right now.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah. You got one layer on. I got three.
Yeah.
It's chilly in the mornings.
I had two when I got here, but I had to take one off. It was too bloody hot. So what? It must be, 20?
20 Celsius? Sure.
Yeah, Celsius.
Yeah, I was making coffee this morning. It was 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so it was lovely, and you know, it's a time like this. You think about shelter, you know, where we live and stuff like that. And today we're going to talk about your shelter, and if you decide to be an expat and live in Thailand, some things to keep in mind. But we're talking today more specifically about sizes. So you know the old story, Ray, of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right?
It's just vaguely in my memory. Yeah.
All right. So, you know, Goldilocks was going between, you know, the porridge and the chairs and the beds and say, oh, this one's too small. This one's too large. This one is just right.
I remember that.
Okay. So we're trying to find the just right in home. Now, when I was working in real estate.
Didn't that go on to porridge too?
Yeah, porridge as well.
Okay. Never mind.
That's another video because we love good rice porridge, don't we? The thing that I found when I was working in real estate in the U.S. Is I would get calls sometimes saying, oh, a client would say, I saw these pictures of this tiny house. Have you heard about tiny house? Oh, tiny homes are so neat and it's so cute, so cute. And I'm like, have you ever lived in a tiny house? Oh no, but it just looks so cute. Have you ever been camping? Because that's kind of what it's like. It's a confined space, and it might not be right for you. So today, though, I'd like to talk about the size of the town, the size of the city.
Does size matter?
Well, it does when it comes to like the town. Oh, Ray. and I think that that a lot of times looking at where you want to settle down as an expat in Thailand, you have to kind of consider these things. So, for example, we're here in Shanghai, and what's the population here?
Some say 70,000, some say 110. I believe it's closer to 70,000.
Right, now, and that's in the city.
Yeah, because I think you can probably take the city and then the outlying area of the city. So,
yeah,
somewhere in that area.
Right, and my understanding is nearby Chiang Mai is a little over 200,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And down south we've got Bangkok, which is 5 million.
Yeah,
5 million plus. So different things to keep in mind when you're considering a place, because I remember being in Chiang Mai about 5 years ago and saying, man, I feel like I could live here, but right, it just wasn't quite right. And I went to visit Chiang Mai recently. Me and a friend, we took a motorbike ride down there. And sure enough, we looked at each other and said, we're glad we live in Shanghai. It just feels right. We're at a stoplight for I think 6 minutes, and it's just a bigger town. It's more hustle bustle and traffic was crazy, and it had a lot more entertainment options. Like the live music scene was excellent there. But yeah, so it's not just the population number. There's other things to consider. Well, like for example, we have a pretty good expat community here, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just looked at it this morning. Actually, they've got like 700 members now.
Right. And I went to the Christmas gathering where they had like a Christmas feast. It's like 150 people there. And all speaking English. It was kind of nice. So you might have to ask yourself, if I was in a small town with no expat community, would I be comfortable? Or do I want, a big city? Are you just kind of a big city person? The other thing is language adoption. If you're in like a small village, it's less likely you're going to find anybody speaking your language. Mm-hmm. If it's English, it seems to be the predominant second language. Now, living in the U.S., I found Spanish to be the second most predominant language. And so I picked up a little bit of Spanish, enough to be, dangerous. Other things like, well, for example, movie theaters, right? Downtown here, both at the Big C which is a kind of like a Walmart shopping center, and attached to it there's a movie theater, and also down at the mall, Central.
2 big cities with movie theaters.
Oh, the other one has one as well. Okay, so that's 3. The 2 I'm mentioning, though, they have English language screenings of some films. So you can attend, and it'll be subtitled in Thai, but they'll have a special screening of the film.
Just going back a little bit to connect, the Expat Club also lists every month in a newsletter what the movies are, where they are, whether they're in English or not.
Yeah, they have a link to it.
Yeah.
Right, and that's kind of cool. So yeah, catching a flick is fun. Another thing to keep in mind on the size of the town that you're going to select is Western food choices, because in a small village, you're not going to get any, right? We've got a few here, some that are stellar, really good.
Yeah.
But last night I made myself a burrito. I'll call it an Americanized Mexican food dish that I used to enjoy, and I finally found all the ingredients for it, including real sour cream. If you're doing the American version, you got to do that. And it was really, really good. But I haven't found anything like that. So you compromise. Whereas if you're in a bigger town, bigger city like Bangkok, you're going to have a lot more choices.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But you're going to travel a long way to get to them.
Yeah. And it depends how you're going to travel.
Where you want to go, where you want to eat. Yeah.
Right. And then another example, when you're choosing your size of town to live in, is like shopping, like mall sizes. So, for example, I know I can go down to Central and I can find most things. I can pay my cell phone bill while I'm there, and I can find small things at the Tops Market there, which caters a little bit more to Westerners, you can find, for example, I enjoy flannel shirts. This time of year. There's an old one from America, but I found one that fit me, and it was long enough, because a lot of times, because I'm a little taller, I'm 5'10", so the shirts will cut off a little too low for me, just because they're made for Thai people that are the average height is shorter. Another thing is like chain stores. So, for example. You could find like the H&M, which for young people that's a clothing store that's a chain. But there might be chain stores that you just can't live without. They do have a Robinson, which is a nice, I guess you'd call it a department store.
Yeah, it's a department store.
They have clothing and that type of thing.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, but if there are chains, like a chain store that you couldn't live without, well, you're not going to find it in a small village. You might find it in something medium size, like here in Shanghai or Chiang Mai, but not so much in a place like Bangkok. And then specialized services. A good example would be a luthier, a guitar technician, who knows how to make adjustments on guitars and do what's called a set, which gets the frets and the bridge and the strings right and no buzzing. And there's one that I found here in town, and then my buddy, my bandmate, he just found another one who he swears by. So if there's a special service that you need, like that you may not find it in a small village, you'll find plenty in a big city, but like when you're dialing it down to what you're comfortable with, Shanghai, I feel like I could get anywhere in Shanghai in 20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Whereas a place like Chiang Mai, you're probably looking, closer to 45 minutes. And Bangkok, forget about it. Dedicate your day to getting there and back.
It takes you 45 minutes to get from the center of Chiang Mai to the road going out of the bloody city.
Well, that's if you're driving, right?
If you're driving, yeah.
Motorbike's a little faster, and definitely if you're taking the Sky Train, that's
I wouldn't ride a bloody motorbike there.
Oh, no way. Not me. No. I'm too scared.
I might interject something here.
Yeah.
I think Chiang Rai, based on what you're talking about, Chiang Rai is probably about the ideal size.
For me?
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be much smaller than Chiang Rai. And I don't want to be any bigger than Chiang Rai.
Well, based on some of the things we're talking about here, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It's right for us.
That's what I'm saying.
And so, it's that Goldilocks moment of just right. And can you get some of the things you miss in a bigger city nearby? So, for example, talked about travel. When I was, it was like halfway through the rainy season, and I was just feeling restless. I thought, what would scratch that itch right now, Damien? And I said, I just want to be on a tall skyscraper at a maybe a rooftop bar, and I want to see the skyline of a big city. And I thought, wow, that really snuck up on me because I'm from Reno, Nevada, in the U.S., and it was not a lot of we had a skyline of some big casinos and that type of thing. I just, for some reason, I missed that, and so what did I do? I took your advice.
I think you went to Bangkok.
Yeah, that's right. Hopped a plane for round trip. Gosh, what was it? Like $60 or something. It was ridiculously inexpensive.
I just got 2 round tickets to Bangkok.
Yeah,
for $6,000.
$6,000. That's about $200.
About 200.
It's so inexpensive, and when you're there, you've got the SkyTrain, or you get around if you're kind of central, so you can scratch that big city itch if it sneaks up on you. You just got to have that on the regular. You can do that, and it's easier. So that's another thing, is being close to an airport.
Yep.
An international airport like this, even though most of the flights are going to Bangkok,
Except
Shanghai,
for
you
a
can
couple that go to
Phuket.
Kunming in China.
What's that?
Except for a couple that go to Kunming in China.
Right. Which, okay, there's another place you can go. But you brought up one that I thought that was really good, and that is hospitals.
Hospitals, yeah. I think it's pretty important considerations.
And not just for your living as an expat now. If you're going to settle into a place, and you're getting older, and you're maybe on a retirement visa, then you might start saying to yourself, it's not just the aches and pains anymore. I got to get some proper treatment by a world-class doctor. And it's not like, you ever see a helicopter, like a care flight?
Yep.
But have you seen a helicopter that's for medical purposes?
What, in Thailand?
In Thailand.
No.
Never.
No.
Yeah. And so it's not as easy to get access to that kind of medical care if you're in smaller, more humble burgs, so to speak. So that's something to keep in mind.
I think it's more than just regular care too. I mean, if you're out in Podunk, well, it wouldn't be that here. What would it be called here? Nong Sai. I don't know. Okay.
Out in the boonies.
And you're 45, 50 minutes away from the closest, from Chiang Mai.
Okay.
And you have a heart attack. And the only thing in that little village, Nong Sai, what do I call it? Nong Sai? That's good. Yeah, Nong Sai. If you're in that little village and the only thing that's there is a clinic staffed by a couple of nurses, you're in a big problem.
Yeah.
And no ambulance is going to get there in time to catch you.
Right.
And if they did, they wouldn't get you 45 minutes to the hospital in time. Probably.
Really good observation. I mean, I'd say of all the things we talked about, that's probably the most that's gonna that you're gonna want to consider. So a friend of mine, Tools, he made a really good observation. He says, you know how you can tell the difference. He's from Holland, I believe, and he says, you know how you can tell the difference in city sizes other than the population numbers. He says, first look for a 7-Eleven. All right, so like a little humble little town in up in the hills.
Nong Sai.
Do they have a 7-Eleven?
I'm sure they do.
Okay.
Well, no, maybe not. I don't know.
You shared a statistic on 7-Elevens in Thailand recently. Would you share that with our lovely viewers?
Well, it was just interesting to me because I read that in Thailand we have 13,000 7-Elevens. Now we've got a population of about 70 million, I think. In America,
Yeah.
I thought, oh, it's going to be 130,000. I was wrong. It's only 10,000.
10,000.
With
Right.
350 million people.
Right. And here we are in Thailand that is maybe roughly the size of Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
So I don't know that 7-Elevens are a good judge in Thailand.
well, his point was like, if the town is so small that it doesn't have a 7-Eleven, that's a really small town. So maybe not right for you, maybe so. Maybe that's what you want. But then so the town goes up a level as far as like livability if there's a 7-Eleven. He says the next step is the big C, Big C is the popular supermarket slash. It's kind of like the Walmarts they have in the U.S. It's just kind of a department store, groceries, everything. So you can, if they get a Big C, that really puts them on the map. Okay, and we've so far you're in Shanghai. We've got 7-Eleven, plenty. We've got 2 Big C's. Okay,
2 Big C's.
Right. And then
and we got the Lotuses.
Right. The next thing he said is the next level is like a large hardware store. Like we have, is it the Mega Home?
Home Pro, Thai What's I Do.
I think we've got 4 here now.
Mega Home, Thai What's I Do, Home Pro, and Go to Go.
I went to all of them looking for a little space heater. I don't know, I just like taking the chill off in the morning. If I'm going to have a shower and it's just trickling out slowly with a little bit of warm water, I'm just going to have to heat that bathroom. So I went around looking for a little space heater. Find a space heater like that. And so I had to buy it on Lazada, bought it online. So, but anyways, that's a good example of those. So we've got 4 of them here, which is like, that's telling me we're starting to become pretty respectable size here in Shanghai. Yeah. And then the last level that Jules shared, he said, is an Ikea. An Ikea, home furniture store. Now we've got furniture stores here, but Ikeas are usually huge. Like they had 1 in Bangkok. They've got 2 now because they built a new mall, yet another mall in Bangkok. So it's like, yeah, you kind of gauge it because a way to look at it is that these corporations, that like 7-Eleven, like Ikea, they watch not just population, they watch demographics, they do testing, they check to see if a town is big enough for them to merit a new location in that town. And so they're checking stuff that you and I couldn't crunch numbers to ascertain whether it was a big town or a small town. But it was a good observation, I thought, that he made. So that's pretty much all I've got on town sizes. Find the Goldilocks town. If you want to be an expat, move to Thailand. There's a lot of things to consider, and then maybe boil it down to 2 or 3 instead of going to every single town and that everybody told you about. Decide what's right for you, and then check a few out on a trip here that is more of a reconnaissance trip to find the right town for you.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to do that in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, a month maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Unless you've been here several times.
I'd recommend that if you're coming here for the first time and you're thinking about living here, spend a few months.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Get a 90-day non-immigrant visa. If you like it, then we can convert that to 12 months and you can stay here.
Absolutely.
But have a good look around.
And get a feel for what it's like to be an expat. Because a lot of things will sneak up on you. And and if it's not right for you, boy, wouldn't it be nice to know before you're cutting a bunch of ties. So I just re-upped. I just signed a new 1-year lease at my home. I'm going to leave my rented home. I'm going to travel for a couple weeks, or a couple months actually. But in fact, that's another video that we'll be sharing with you. And we talked about what expats do to get away from what's called the smoky season here in northern Thailand. And
not hard to do if you must.
If you must, or not necessarily get away with it, but to cope with it. Because, there's a lot of ways
to
cope
with it, cope with it, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
Many ways to do that.
Why not?
Okay, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done yakking.
Are you 40 minutes up? One thing that I want to mention, you were talking about the 7-Elevens, and I don't know if this is true in the States or other countries or not. But I find it wonderful that I can go to the 7-Eleven, pay my electric bill, pay my phone bill, pay my water bill. I can pay all my utility bills at a 7-Eleven.
Right.
It cost me 15 baht to do that.
Yeah. Or there's an app for that.
Yeah, if you can understand something.
Yeah.
There's an app for that.
I've done everything except for my cell phone bill. I tend to go down to the mall, because I'll go down to the mall at least once a month. Just get some socks or whatever. And pay the phone bill while I'm there. It's easy. But yeah, the 7-Eleven, you can do a lot as like.
I noticed something new in Shanghai the other day.
Something new in Shanghai.
And
this
maybe,
just in, folks.
Yeah, maybe this has a bearing on sizes of places too.
What's that?
We just got a second post office.
What?
I am so glad, because the one we've got, you can't find bloody parking there.
Oh, yeah, I know the one. Yeah.
Yeah, we just got a second one.
Well, okay. Getting on the map here, folks. Get here before it gets too big for you.
And we've got about 4 Kerry Express branches here.
Yeah, so now...
Okay, are we done?
Well, yeah, except that now, that's really great news with the post offices, because now you have 2 opportunities to send postcards out to your friends in other countries that will never arrive.
You don't say that. I just sent my passport off yesterday.
I'd say about 3/4 of my postcards got delivered.
Oh, well,
Then again, stamps are small.
Maybe you should ask their addresses again.
Okay. Yes, that is it for me. Y'all set?
You know I never have much to say.
Oh, sure. Well, thanks a lot, folks. We'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.